Hello, everybody. Welcome to this week's edition of Yellow Ropes Forever, the NXT Rundown. My name is Sondra, and I am joined here today by Mr. Sondra.
Indeed.
So, he's back. He's back watching the show with me.
Harumph. No.
Harumph is what he says, because he's an old
Actually,
curmudgeon.
I enjoyed a lot of this week's episode, despite right off the bat, I'm probably going to sound incredibly negative because of the person we see beginning the episode.
I think
But
most people feel that way. I think I find it hilarious. We'll get into that in a moment. But no, it's good to have you back.
it's good to be here. It's good to be here in my home.
In your home, where I also live. We will get into the episode now, after this brief musical interlude.
Da-da,
And
oh, sorry. I thought
Mr.
I was
Sandro was
providing it.
going to provide the musical interlude, but I'll provide another one. Back after this. And we are back. We opened the show with something that everybody hates. My friend Shane messaged me and was like, I have a rant for when you watch NXT, which I didn't get to do until late Saturday because of my internet. But my friend Shane messaged me and was like, I have a rant about NXT. And I was like, all right, well, wait until I've watched NXT. And then I was like, okay, so I've watched it. He goes, Michael fucking Cole. And I was like, I know, Michael Cole opened the episode, and I know you were thrilled.
Well, I feel like even though I've only been on the show, what, three prior times now?
Something like
Something like
that.
that, a handful of times. I've probably already expressed my visceral hatred for Michael Cole on several occasions, so there's not much more to say except that the WWE succeeded all too well with heel Cole in making me fucking hate him forever.
Yeah, you really hate him forever. Now, when Michael Cole opened the show, I just laughed. I laughed wholeheartedly and took a picture of my television screen because I was like, what even is this? This is hilarious. And the basic premise is that Michael Cole is here to open the show with a contract signing between Finn Balor and Samoa Joe. And as William and I said last week, we were sure that that was going to go off well and that nothing would happen at
All
the contract
contract
signing.
signings go without a hitch.
All of them, every single one. This was probably the closest we're gonna get.
Well, the signing itself,
The
in
signing
fairness.
itself. But Michael Cole opened the show and informed us that William Regal is recovering from successful
Oh,
surgery.
and that gets me to my first question for you. Was there any specific surgery that he got, or did he just get surgery?
No, he had neck surgery.
Okay, well, they never specified anything
Oh, well,
on the
they've
show.
specified it for the past 2 weeks.
Okay.
So,
Well, on the episode I watched, they didn't, and since I'm not a dedicated NXT viewer, there are gaps in my knowledge that you're gonna have to fill in.
yeah, no, that's fair. But no, he had neck surgery a few weeks back. And last week, I know I mentioned multiple times, good on William Regal directing things from recovering from surgery. Now, a few weeks after the surgery, apparently he's not here, but in the world of NXT, it just makes me laugh that he was still being the GM for, a week or two after having surgery, and now he's placing other people in charge. But because William Regal can't be here because he's recovering, he's put someone else in charge, and guess who that is? And at this point, I wanted so badly, nothing more did I want than for him to bring out a laptop computer or even a tablet. I'd have accepted a tablet and say, the anonymous general manager
Would the
is
tablet be
back.
son of anonymous general manager?
Yeah, yeah. Anonymous general manager
Junior?
light? I don't know. But it would have made me so happy. But no, unfortunately, it's basically the same as when we had the anonymous general manager. Michael Cole even opened the show saying, May I have your attention, please? Oh, it brought me back to such happy memories from when I first started watching wrestling, when the anonymous GM was the GM. And Edge beat up that computer, and I was hooked on wrestling.
Edge, what are you doing?
What are you doing, Edge? You've got the crazy eyes. Yeah, that's still one of my favorite sound clips ever of all time ever. So Michael Cole's here, and
He
he's
sure
yeah, and
is.
he's in charge tonight. He makes mention, specific
Thankfully, he's
mention.
not going to be sticking his nose into most of the episodes, so
No, no. All he really does is officiate this contract signing. But what he mentions here too is that the main event is going to happen because Eva Marie last week challenged Bayley for a title match b- out of the blue, and Michael Cole explicitly says William Regal would not have let this match happen. But I'm in charge, and WWE corporate has sent down word that this is going to happen.
oh, corporate.
This is important. This is important. But I think actually they kind of did what they had to do because William Regal wouldn't make this match. William Regal wouldn't make this match at all. William Regal, who wouldn't give Samoa Joe a title match. I mean, he gave Alexa Bliss a match pretty quickly, which I think I said last week too. But Alexa Bliss can wrestle. So there's that. But the whole story throughout the episode, and we'll get to more specifics later, is that Eva Marie has been sent to by corporate to be the face of this. So
The
that's the
face
thing.
of vague corporate villainy,
The
yes.
face of vague corporate villainy. And so Michael Cole says William Regal wouldn't have done this because he's too good a boss, but I basically suck and I'm going to do whatever corporate tells me to do. I mean, goodness sake, I read off a computer for
And
what, a
that's,
year?
yeah, and that's so believable for some
I
reason.
know, and that's why I think it was kind of perfect that Michael Cole was in this role, honestly. I thought it was hilarious. And it was the first thing in the episode that kind of reminded me of late 2012, early 2013, where random WWE people just show up and are part of NXT. And for some reason, it just triggered nostalgia. Like some people see nostalgia or have nostalgia when they see, Shawn Michaels or The Undertaker. I have nostalgia when I get the feeling of NXT from late 2012, early 2013 when nobody was watching it. So that's my thing.
Well, and can I jump on that to go on my first somewhat negative rant about this episode that again I feel like I have to qualify by saying I overall still enjoyed. But you mentioned the amount of crossover between main WWE and NXT. For instance, how many weeks ago was it that the Ascension came back?
Last week.
Last week. I knew it was a very recent one. And that's why I have a little bit of an issue with the idea that corporate, to use the vaguest of vague terms, is responsible for foisting Eva Marie and other, shall we say, obstacles in front of Bayley. Because there's actually a name for an evil corporate entity that runs WWE and tries to push shitty wrestlers on us. They're called the Authority.
Yeah, the Authority are different in NXT
But
though.
that's a problem for me because, as
Yeah,
you
I
said,
can see that.
increasingly there's a blending where we have people who were NXT stars coming back. Not all the time, but it happens. We have main roster people coming down. We've got basically, it's in my mind becoming increasingly difficult to pretend that the NXT is a separate bubble universe from the rest of WWE.
It's not as much a separate bubble universe from the WWE anymore. The only reason this works for me, this whole corporate thing, honestly, is because William Regal's not here.
I know, but it's not the fact that Regal isn't there. It's the fact that we're using this generic term corporate instead of saying it's the authority because that's been the spine of the WWE's storytelling for what, a year and a half or more now?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's been the through line of the main storyline for a tedious amount of time. And not acknowledging it at this point or pretending that the Authority has power in the main WWE universe, but not NXT for some reason because we like Triple H
But I
when he
don't
shows up to kiss the audience's ass.
I don't think the
Uh,
authority would want Eva Marie though. I think that's more
but that
the
then that's even more
company.
incoherent bullshit. So there's someone other than the Authority in what the C not wait. Triple H is the COO. Does the CIO really want Eva Marie to be the
It's John
women's
Laurinaitis.
champion? But you know,
It's John Laurinaitis,
but you know what a CIO is, right?
Chief Information
Yeah,
Officer.
exactly.
I don't know. You worked in corporate for a lot longer than I did.
But you
Um,
know, so the CFO is really invested in the NXT Women's
it's
Championship.
branding. It's the branding people, and I'm gonna just say it's John Laurinaitis. I mean, he married a Bella mom, So,
Boy.
yeah, there's that. But I think it it doesn't make any sense, right? And it doesn't. And it's everything I should normally hate about NXT, and we're going on about this way too long.
Well, but
But
it's one of my gripes from a storytelling perspective. I just think we're getting to a point where it just seems incoherent if basically you're treating key elements of the storytelling within the main WWE universe as though they somehow don't affect NXT or that they're just not being mentioned for some reason.
well, I mean, we have to grant some separation, and we also have to grant the fact that
But you see, if
corporate.
they don't, I don't know if I do.
No, I understand that. I understand that. But I mean, my point is that they kind of still do because the characters are different in NXT and WWE, even if they're on the main roster and not on the main roster. I mean, Sasha didn't wear a freaking belt on Raw, right? So it is different. And it just seemed like one of those weird anomaly episodes where, yeah, it doesn't make any sense for Michael Cole to be in charge. Like, why would William Regal put Michael Cole in charge? But it seemed like that one episode where Dusty Rhodes got outed or ousted as GM because he told off the authority, actually, which totally proves
Huh.
your point.
I
But
rest my case,
the
counselor.
funniest thing about that episode was that Dusty Rhodes got ousted. For some reason, CJ Parker and Tyler Breeze and everyone are going to Brad Maddox backstage to try to be in the tag team tournament. Like, Brad Maddox, who was, I think, the assistant to the Raw general manager at that point. I think he was Vicky Guerrero's assistant. And it didn't make any sense. And then JBL came out at the end of the episode, was the new GM. Why? JBL, why? And then there was a Dusty finish on the same episode where Dusty Rhodes got ousted as GM. So that's one of my favorite episodes ever, and I referenced it a lot. But Michael Cole is about to announce Samoa Joe because he says that he was going to announce the challenger first after Finn Balor comes out. But he goes, I would like to introduce to you the man, and Finn Balor's music hits. And Finzy in full glory. I mean, he wasn't
He's not
wearing the leather jacket.
Finzy. He's not in the
He
jacket.
wasn't
Yeah.
in the leather jacket. He was wearing like a sport coat and slacks and Vans, which you loved.
Yep, I love those shoes.
Yeah, he loves those shoes. He buys them specifically all the time, like for years. And so Finn Balor looks great. He absolutely looks great. And I will say, Finn Balor growing on me in NXT. He's growing on me as champion. He's starting to look like he belongs finally, and I really like it. And I think toning down the he's a demon, he's a whatever. I mean, the body paint is so cool and the entrance is so cool, but this is a guy who, as Robert said, what could he be instead of a demon? Oh, sexy. And it's totally working for him. And
It's
so
true.
Robert's sexy dreams of Finn Balor can
Well,
continue.
I don't know if sexy is the first word I would use to describe Finn Balor, but I'm sure a lot of people would. I would say that in this segment, he was finally, in my opinion, showing more charisma in his speaking than he has in the past, because I feel like
He was
from
believable.
the very beginning, he's always had great ring charisma. His entrance is awesome. The way he does everything in the arena and in the ring is great. I just at first felt he wasn't given much.
He
He
didn't
didn't
seem
have
like a
much to go
fully formed
with as a
human.
person, as a character, and also his talking segments at first were very generic, good guy, and were kind of awkward.
He was king
So
of exposition, and he wasn't being king of exposition here. He has something to sink his teeth into, and he's actually being a fully formed character because he has motivations. Like his friend turned on him. Finn Balor says that friendship and trust uh, don't exist in this business, or something like that. And
but at least he's learning that before he gets to the main roster. Hopefully, he won't forget it immediately when he gets there.
let's hope not. And I am still hoping that maybe Finn Balor attacked Hideo Itami after all because of this whole friendship and trust deal, and maybe he did know that all along. And
I'm really feeling like friendship is kind of a major through line of this episode. Now that we'll get to it,
it
but
is, it is a major, well, it's a major through line of NXT, frankly, and the relationships make sense. It's not just like you are in a group.
in this episode particularly, we're going to get multiple instances of friendships affecting things.
Yeah,
So
yeah, we are. We absolutely are. But I think Finn Balor had a lot of fire to him when he says he's going to stick his foot down Samoa Joe's throat,
Trout.
which Mr. Sondra thinks was trout, but it wasn't. It was trout.
I know. I just like making fun of Irish accents.
I know you do. But I really liked it. And then Michael Cole, pansy Michael Cole is basically like, well, I was going to introduce the challenger first. So then he introduces Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe's music hits. Samoa Joe comes down to the ring, no nonsense, looks like he wants to kill someone, walks into the ring, grabs a pen, signs the contract, walks back out, done.
I love that because he walked out like he looked like he didn't want to be there, didn't acknowledge his opponent at all,
Didn't
kept
look
his
at
eyes
him.
completely down,
And Finn Balor was going, look at me, look at my
called him a
face.
coward on the way out after he very quickly signed the contract and immediately bailed from the ring.
And it wasn't even bailed, it was just like, I have no time for you. Like, it didn't seem like a coward thing, but Finn Balor was going, you're a coward, because he wouldn't look at him. So then when Finn Balor's leaving,
And I don't know, I would interpret it a little differently actually, because I thought at first his demeanor was indicating that maybe Joe does feel bad about what he had to do to get that title shot.
no, that's true, that's
However,
true.
then something else happens because Joe leaves and Finn signs the contract as well, and he takes off, he leaves the ring, and on his way to the back, turns
Samoa
out
Joe comes back out and
Joe's
starts
not
kicking his
finished.
ass.
Yeah,
And they brawl and they have a great brawl and they get into the ring as they're brawling. And Samoa Joe, tries to go after Finn. Finn hits a drop kick on Samoa Joe, but Samoa Joe, expertly being the submission specialist that his shirt says he is, gets Finn into the coquina clutch pretty effectively. Finn is knocked out in the coquina clutch, complete with major
he
drool.
drools like a champ. And I also really love the way that Joe is yelling, "I own you," into his ear
Oh
as he's
yeah.
choking him out.
Oh yeah, the whole thing was great. I really enjoyed it, and so we're left with Finn Balor
It's
kind of
like,
lying, like we were last time.
you know how I've always loved Joe? For whatever reason, since I first saw him, I've always really enjoyed his character, but I also just had the thought, this is like, what if they'd actually used Taz effectively when he'd first come into the
I
WWE?
had a similar thought.
Because that was kind of his deal too in ECW. Basically, as we've heard on other podcasts that recap the Attitude Era, he had one or two good matches before being relegated to the dregs of the company pretty much immediately. So, and then, of course, becoming a commentator with varied amounts of success depending on how heavily post produced he was.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's true. It's a fair comparison. And I think the opening segment was not too long and it accomplished what it needed to accomplish. So I really liked it and it made me a lot more invested in both of these guys, honestly, because I've had trouble connecting with the main event. So kudos to NXT for that. They're finally starting to bring things back together and I appreciate it. So up next, we had a really good match. I thought it was a really good match. We had the Vaudevillains versus the Mechanics, and I really liked it. And what I liked right off the bat, Greg Hamilton introduced Scott Dawson and Dash Wilder, getting rid of their first names, or not even their first
Yeah,
names. No,
exactly.
Scott Dawson's first name and Dash Wilder's last
That's the
name.
confusing bit, especially.
It doesn't seem to be an experiment that's
And
working.
that combination also does make them sound like one person. But
Dash and
Dash
Dawson.
Yes, Dash Dawson.
And how everyone calls them Dash and Wilder. Like maybe that's why it's not working, right? Just call them the fucking mechanics. I
I like it. Did they? Oh, maybe I shouldn't ask if there's a story about the name the mechanics being used and dropped because there probably is.
No, there's really not. They just stopped calling them the mechanics.
Oh, I thought there was maybe some
No,
deeper
I mean,
reason.
I'm fairly, I don't know for sure if they ever called them the mechanics while Dash Wilder was with the group, but
Wait, how many people were we talking about at some point?
oh well, Garrett Dillon, the part of Garrett Dillon is being played by Dash Wilder.
Oh,
It
okay.
was
We had
a
a partner swap
situation.
out.
Yeah, yeah, basically. He absorbed his whole backstory and everything, so I don't know why they're not still the mechanics. But the mechanics versus the Vaudevillains, I really, really liked. And I know that you really, really liked it too. You thought it was a very good match. What you have a lot more to say about the match itself, probably because you
Well,
were watching it frame by frame.
frankly, I almost don't want to bore the audience by going into that level of detail. Maybe they should just watch the actual match instead of hearing me describe it blow for
That would be
blow.
ideal.
I would just say it was a really great match. There was a lot of excellent heelish teamwork by the mechanics that I appreciated. Oh yeah, I liked the bit where Dawson was whipped into the ropes, but Wilder grabbed him from behind so that Aiden English
when
was
Aiden English was going to go
caught
for a
off
drop
guard and
kick.
fell down. Yes.
Yeah, it was, and I think it was either Rich or Byron said, great tag team continuity by, and I just want to say the mechanics, but I think they said Dawson and Dash at that
And I
point.
believe there were several instances, by several I mean two instances, of one of the mechanics tagging in unbeknownst to whichever of the Vaudevillains was in the ring at the
It
time.
was Aiden English because Aiden English was in the ring the whole time, basically.
Gotch was in there a
A
bit.
little bit, not a lot. He doesn't tend to be in the ring as much. It's
Well,
basically poor Aiden English getting worked over the entire time, and then
oh
Gotch
yeah,
tags in and then tags out right away. And they're growing to be not very smart as a tag team. And I mean, it was a very typical mechanics match in the sense of they decided to pick a body part on Aiden English and work it. And they've been kind of going after his leg because they've been injuring everyone's legs, but they kind of ended up going after his arm part of the time too this match.
but did you see why that was clever? I thought it was doubly clever because it started out with English going after Wilder's arm,
Oh
and
yeah, it was
then
total retribution.
Wilder attacked the same body part in retribution.
Yeah, he was like, "Oh, you want my arm? No, now I'm gonna have yours too." Because they decided to just collect body parts. I've decided that that might be their gimmick, and I'm totally okay with it, and I totally love it.
But I also did want to say it was a strong match. There was maybe, I thought, a little bit of a slight timing issue at the very end where it seemed like I thought Aiden English was stalling a little too long and it became kind of obvious with the whirling dervish.
Oh, it was way too obvious. It was another instance of him being stupid as a wrestler, which bothered me because they were going to set up the whirling dervish, and Aiden English just paused in the corner for like ever, basically. And so, again, you deserve to lose the titles or you deserve to not get the titles back. And I really don't want to go through with the Vaudevillains what I went through with Enzo and Cass in terms of them being dumb as wrestlers. So I really don't want them to do that to me. It would make me so, 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 so sad. So please, Vaudevillains, get better as a team again.
Yes. So I think from that, people might deduce, if they don't already know, that the Vaudevillains did not win this match and become the new tag team
No,
champions.
the Vaudevillains did not win this match and become the new tag team champions. The Mechanics are still the tag team champions, and as they should be, really. I mean, they're really good, and I'm sounding really harsh about the Vaudevillains. I think I'm just afraid that I'm going to lose them, and I think I'm internalizing that. But I will say, regarding the tag team situation, I just have to say I'm really, really glad that the tag team situation is starting to get really complex because after the match, we had, you know, the mechanics are celebrating because
They
they
hit the
won.
shatter machine.
They hit the shatter machine for the win on Aiden English again. Poor Aiden, like he's always
After
getting
the second
pinned.
blind tag, they hit the shatter machine. Yep.
Yeah, yeah. And so they win and they're celebrating because they're like, yeah, we go hard. And that song is still kind of weird, but whatever, it's fine. And then, surprise, like I was surprised at least, we hear Enzo and Cass's song start to playing and
And they come out in all black, looking
in all
very
black. And
serious.
I looked at the television and went, Enzo, what are you wearing? Because it wasn't leopard print, it wasn't polka dots, it didn't have a crazy pattern. Like he had a handkerchief hanging out of his pocket that had a pattern on it, but the rest it was just all black. And Cass was all in black, and they were very serious looking. And they decided to attack the mechanics, and big boot throwing them over the
And I thought Cass
rope.
looked genuinely impressive when he was hitting that, when he was rebounding. Did he rebound and hit the boot, or was it a clothesline, or
I think a clothesline over the
I
rope or
believe, yeah.
something.
But I thought
But
he looked really good doing it
he did
in
look
this
really good doing
instance,
it,
and
and
they
he's
both
fired
looked
up.
very fired. Yeah, they both looked extremely fired up, and
I didn't know he was going
Enzo
to be
was doing
back
his
so soon.
flurry kind of attack,
Oh yeah, yeah. No, they looked good. They looked really good. And when I keep talking about, Enzo and Cass level of stupid, they weren't looking like Enzo and Cass level of stupid. They were looking like Enzo and Cass who could maybe be a thing. And plus, this reignites again, again. It could reignite Enzo and Cass versus the former Legionnaires slash mechanics. I mean, again, with Dash Wilder instead of Gary Dillon, but still in my head, it's a thing. And
wait, what are the Legionnaires?
when Sylvester LaFour used to manage them
Oh, okay.
back in the day. There was a lot of nostalgia for me in this episode, like I said.
And
But
that I clearly don't have. So.
yeah, most people don't. It's fine. But what I like about this too is that it makes the tag team scene really complex. And What it reminds me of is the women's scene back in 2012, 2013, when you were building stories and the women were interacting with one another, and we weren't talking about a revolution, we weren't talking about building a division, we were having stories and we were having them interact, and we were having good matches, and that was it. And the tag team division has been in need of that forever. And that was my phone making a noise. But
No, that was me whistling.
yeah, sure it was. But what we're getting right now is actual confirmation from NXT or wrestling or whatever that the tag team scene does matter because we have multiple teams that want the belts and multiple teams who could conceivably get the belts. I mean, the
Yes.
Vaudevillains are kind of being knocked out of the picture, sort of, but
And whither the dubstep cowboys, for instance.
the Dubstep Cowboys, they're former champions in their own right. They're still around. They're supporting Alexa, kind of. They weren't
I'm
on
just
this
saying,
episode, but
when they're not creeping around Alexa, they could come back and challenge for the
they
belts.
could come back and challenge for the belts. And there are multiple contenders here because I'm guessing we're going to get Chad Gable and Jason Jordan in London
Well,
because we
they seem
totally
like
need to.
they're probably being set up for that, so in the near
Yeah.
future.
Yeah. Which is why that's another reason it surprised me that Enzo and Cass came out, honestly, because Enzo and Cass coming out to attack, I was like, wait, what? Jordan and Gable are supposed to be the contenders. And that's great, right? That means that it's not just like this team fights this team. It's, oh, all these teams want this thing, and we're probably going to get number one contenders match
Yeah.
slash matches. And I'm really excited about that. And it's building the division in a way that it's just telling me pay attention to the wrestling that's happening and pay attention to all these people that are all stars and you can like all of them and they're all good and this is actually a thing to pay attention to, and that's what makes me so happy about it because it's complex and it's storytelling that I kind of want to pay attention to, and I actually want to know what's going to happen, and my tag team blindness is cured. Yay. I think it's official. I think I'm officially in remission of tag team blindness. But
Well, I think in fairness to you, some of those tag teams have grown more distinctive personalities that have maybe
yes.
helped that condition.
Yes. Very, very yes. Uh, but after the mechanics run away from badass Enzo and Cass, Tom Phillips comes into William Regal's
Uh,
office, and Eva Marie's just hanging out in William Regal's office. William Regal's not using it, obviously. I don't know why Michael Cole's not using it because he's in charge for the night.
Now look, we don't see Michael Cole again tonight, and I'm happy about that. Let's not look a gift horse in the mouth.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I just imagine he was over in the corner, like cowering or something, being like, "Why can't I use the
What do you
desk?"
think? Not, oh, should I not say who shows up in the office and might be intimidating Michael Cole in that corner? Nia Jax.
Yeah, I was gonna get to that. But whatever, like, Eva Marie can just use William Regal's office apparently, and Tom Phillips is very confused about this also, so,
And so is the
and
audience.
so is the audience, and so is everybody, and Tom is like, Eva, why are we in Mr. Regal's office? And she goes, Tom, something about William Regal. You know what? I'm inserting the audio of this
Yeah, you've
promo.
threatened to insert the entire promo and probably will because you're a
I'm
sadist.
inserting the entire promo here in all of its glory because I could imitate her inflection, but it's
Ugh.
just so much better if you listen to it.
Sorry, audience. I apologize on behalf of Inside the Ropes that you have to hear that.
Everyone should hear it. It's so beautiful.
Eva, tonight is your NXT Women's Championship match against Bayley. But I wanted to ask you, why are we in Mr. Regal's office?
Oh, well, Tom, Mr. Regal is still recovering from his surgery, so I needed a bigger place to prepare for my championship match. Miss you, Mr. Regal, and I know he won't mind.
All right. Last week you said this match tonight against Bayley was inevitable. What makes it inevitable?
This match is inevitable because, let's get real, I'm the hottest, literally, prospect in a long time. I mean, I've been beating opponent after opponent since I've made my return. And, I mean, Bayley, she's a great champion. She's a swell girl. But it's time for a real woman to become champion. So I'm extremely excited for my opportunity tonight to go for that championship title. But you know what's even better? I have the amazing support of the WWE Universe. Thank you, Total Divas. And you know what, Tom? What's even better than gifts is friendship. And I want to introduce you to my good friend, Nia Jax. Thank you, Queen.
You're welcome.
You see, Tom, nothing beats friendship.
So, Eva is the hottest, literally, prospect in
Yeah.
WWE.
You could dissect
Now,
that sentence so many ways.
I just want to, does she have a fever? Is her body temperature unregulated? Why is it because she's wearing the robe and so she feels like she is literally warmer than everyone else? Does she think she is literally
to
a
be
prospect?
fair-
Like, is she a piece of gold in the ground to be dug up? I mean, might rather see that piece of gold in the ground wrestle than her. I don't know what she means, and she's so baffling. But I kind of love, I mean, she's so bad. She's bad at talking, she's bad at wrestling, she's bad at everything.
Yep.
They're managing to work it into the story
In a
and
way.
in a way, and it's honestly, it's working for me, which is so weird.
More for you than me. But
More
okay.
for me than you, yeah. But it's kind of working because I totally hate her. She's so hateable. And the fact
It's
that
the way
she's
they're doing it.
it's the way they're doing it. And well, the thing is, I love
Mutating X-Pac heat into some horrible new virus.
Yeah, it's gone beyond X-Pac heat. Well, she is the hottest literally, so her heat is worse. But I like
She's the typhoid Mary of a new form of heat. That's why she's literally so hot.
Yeah, it's something. It is something. But I don't know. I kind of like the fact that it's, this Tom Phillips asked her why this match is inevitable, and that's when she says she's the hottest literally prospect in WWE. And it's inevitable because, because Total Divas and because corporate loves her, and she says, Bayley's a swell girl. And it's what I talked about last week, where Eva Marie represents diva and Bayley represents every woman that we love, that we're behind, that's awesome. And this is the story I really wanted between Alexa and Bayley, because Alexa kind of represents that, very pretty, more typical diva look also, except she can actually do work, so maybe she's not the right one to tell that story.
Yeah.
But the story totally works for me and it's drawing me in. And my favorite thing, at one point she says that, she's so thankful for something, but she's even more thankful for friendship. And so she's like my good friend Naya. And so Naya hands her another present. Oh, because they panned over to the table of presents.
A sideboard full of presents, one of which was wearing a hat.
Multiple presents were wearing birthday hats, okay?
It made no
that's my
sense.
favorite thing about the scene, is that multiple presents are wearing
It's
birthday
like Pee-wee's
hats.
Playhouse in that office.
It's
I don't know
just
what's
so
going
great.
on.
I am screen capping it and using it as part of this video because presents wearing hats, because thank you, Total Divas. honestly, like, I love everything about this and I should hate everything about this, but Eva also values friendship, and that friend is Nia Jax, with whom we've never seen her interact except for in little backstage things, right? Like, on Total Divas, has Nia Jax ever been her friend? No. Is anyone her friend on Total Divas? No. Eva
You would
doesn't
know because
value
you watch
friendship.
Total
Oh, I
Divas.
totally watch Total Divas. Eva doesn't value friendship. Eva's a horrible person. So that's what makes it even better for me, is if you watch Total Divas and you know Total Divas canon, she does not have friends. She won't even go into the locker room storyline-wise because they're all pissed at her for not being a wrestler, right? This is just great.
Clearly, I missed the nuance provided by the canon of Total Divas.
It's true.
Therefore, I cannot really fully grasp all the intricacies of this story.
Oh, it's amazing. Eva is a terrible
Or
actress.
she's fucking terrible.
She
And
is
that's the
fucking
bottom
terrible.
line.
Like, the thing is, I can never help but think of Mark Carano telling, I think, the Bellas that Eva's in California because they have opportunities for her because of her look and her unique style of acting. That was a line. He said her unique style of acting. And by that, it's like, you mean inability?
You know, it's a shame that she wasn't around when Stanley Kubrick and subsequently Steven Spielberg was making AI.
Oh my
Because she could have
gosh.
played
She
a
could have
great
played.
android.
Well, yeah. It wouldn't be playing. Like,
She could have been the perfect android.
oh my gosh. Like I
Kubrick
said
would have
last
loved
week,
her.
she's gone from, Cyberman to Stepford wife at least. So she's
Yeah.
she's stepping it up. But yeah, so that was that segment. And so we get that Nia Jax is very clearly in league with Eva Marie, and she's
And
Eva's lackey.
as we're going to continue to underline through the episode, friendship is magic in NXT.
Friendship is magic in NXT.
Or lack thereof, I guess, in the case of, say, Bálor and Joe.
Right. So then we got a recap of Asuka versus Dana at NXT TakeOver Respect, and we also saw Dana's promo from last week about how she was so upset that Asuka patted her on her head. And then we're supposed to get Asuka versus Dana boobs again. And Asuka comes out. She looks badass. She always looks badass. She's amazing, right? Like,
Yeah.
love Asuka.
You know,
love,
speaking
love,
of
love
women's
her.
matches, not to go too tangential, and maybe I even said this before, but I feel like the next powerhouse women's match is Asuka versus Bayley.
Oh,
because
absolutely.
Asuka is the evil funhouse mirror version of Bayley in some ways.
Oh, she's so awesome. Like, that match is going to be so good. So good. I mean, I'm stoked for Asuka versus Emma, which we're setting up with this because Dana's music hits and she doesn't do her flip because she has a microphone in her hand. So immediately I'm excited because it means that Dana's going to talk, right?
Oh, God. You're excited and the rest of the world is crying.
No, I am not the only one that loves Dana Boobs and her terrible, terrible speaking. Okay? There are others. So Dana comes out and she has the microphone in her hand and she says to Asuka, something about, I hope that you've gotten all that smiling out of your system because in 2 seconds, I'm going to come to that ring and oh wait, hooded figure attacks Asuka from behind. It's Emma with a hoodie sweatshirt
Dark
on.
Emma.
Dark, evil, evil Emma. She's wearing black pants and a black hoodie.
And she has the dark, lipstick.
The dark
and
lipstick. She's amazing. And I just love that, like, was she hiding in the shadows? Was she under the ring and didn't want anyone to see her? Was she
and
trying to be the
Hornswoggle were having a tea
anti-Asuka?
party.
No, he doesn't live there. This is Full Sail. He does not live there. And we don't want him there.
No one does. but
No
still.
one does. No one does. But I just love that she had her hair completely in the hood, like she was hiding in the shadows or something in the, completely lit arena. I love this. I'm so stoked for Emma versus Asuka, and basically Emma attacks her from behind. Asuka, like, she kicks her or whatever, and she's like, no, I'm not really gonna take this because I'm Asuka and I'm a killer. But then Dana attacks also, or like Dana distracts her or something. And Emma can go up to Asuka again from behind, so that damn numbers game got a
Yep.
hold of Asuka.
And so Asuka gets put in the Emma lock.
Asuka gets put in the Emma lock, and Emma wrenches it in as she always does. And I am so stoked for this match. And it's the first time we've ever seen Asuka taken down, even a little, really.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the first time she's looked vulnerable at all. This match is gonna be awesome. It's gonna be so good.
Well, I can understand seeing the positives and being excited about the match and being able to look past the fact that Dana talks. But
Plus, I love that they have a nefarious plan, and that plan is to run up and hit someone from behind.
yeah, I mean,
It's like when Leo Kruger and Antonio Cesaro were plotting against Sami Zayn, and their plan was literally to hit him once from behind on a ramp. I love wrestling.
I know I told you this at the time, but my problem with the whole scenario was simply that I did feel like Dana not caring about the win didn't make sense. I mean, why not get a cheap victory over Asuka, too? The attack itself is nice, but, I mean, beyond the psychological terror tactic of, I don't know, attacking someone from behind, which only happens 5 times a week usually on wrestling, I don't know. I just thought it struck me as a little off, in my opinion, that
Well, it was never
it wasn't
supposed to be
arranged
a
so that Dana
match.
could. Well, but they had a match scheduled, so why the hell shouldn't Dana use this numbers game that they're already playing to get a win? That was just my quibble with the whole
Yeah,
segment.
yeah. I mean,
Because wins and losses should matter, and
yeah.
it's even more psychologically damaging if you kick her ass and get a victory against her.
But Dana's still terrified of Asuka. Dana doesn't think that she can beat Asuka. Well, maybe she does because she might still think that she did beat
Well, yeah,
Asuka.
I thought that she was delusional or had
Well, that's
lost
the
her
thing.
memory or
Dana doesn't need to
something.
get her win back because she already got one.
But okay, well,
Plus, I mean, it's Dana and Emma. Like, no one said that they were like the brightest people in NXT, right? Like, they're sure not. And I mean, Emma is like she's secretly cold and
well,
vicious and
but if
smart.
they're the two Stooges, they're not going to seem that intimidating.
No, but
So,
it was all about the nefarious plan, not about an actual match. I mean, last week, Dana called Asuka out and wanted to have a match because she didn't really want to have a match. She wanted to do their plan.
well, this just maybe it's just also that this relates to a problem I have with a later segment that we'll get to.
That could be, yeah.
Oh yes, there's also the promo for Mystery Cowboy Wrestler.
Oh, we forgot to mention that before this whole Dana, Asuka, Emma, nefarious plan was carried out, we got a black and white vignette of a drifter man. It didn't say that he was a drifter.
Didn't say anything
Didn't say
to tell
anything
you who
except
this
for
person
him
was.
singing, folksy something
He was
tune.
singing a countrified history of the NXT title, I believe.
Was that what it was?
You didn't catch that?
No. I was too excited going, Elias Sampson,
I
Elias
thought he
Sampson,
was
the
kind of
drifter.
recounting the NXT title. Then that's why it ends with "What it needs is what I am."
Oh, okay. Well, you totally caught that. I was too busy just going, it's Elias Sampson. He's a drifter and he's singing and he sings.
And I was, since I had no idea who this person was, I thought, hey, maybe Nick Cave and or Chris Christopherson is coming to NXT.
Interesting thing, Chris Christopherson's son, Jody Christopherson, was Garrett Dillon of the Mechanics.
No shit.
Yeah.
Huh.
He also played Captain Comic at one point.
Captain Comic?
He was a Rosebud who had a
Oh.
match.
Interesting.
So it's just funny that you mentioned him, and we were just talking about the part of Garrett Dillon being played by Dash Wilder. Yeah, that's actually Chris Christopherson's son. But I was so stoked about this ballad featuring Elias Sampson, who was not named, and they didn't say the word drifter, and they didn't do anything like that. We have seen him come out on NXT with a guitar before, but yeah, I'm excited that he's going to be a thing, and singing in wrestling always makes me excited too. So we'll see where that goes.
Because that always works. I mean, other than Honky Tonk Man, I'm having a hard time thinking of singing wrestling. When is?
Aiden English was pretty fun when he was
Oh
singing.
yeah, that's true. I forgot about Aiden. He just doesn't do that anymore.
I
really.
know. I miss it. I miss it a lot. But yeah, so I'm excited about Elias Sampson, and I can't believe that I almost forgot to mention that. And so after Dana and Asuka and Emma and all of that, we get Bayley backstage, and Tom Phillips asks what Bayley thinks of Eva's promo declaration thing from before.
What do you make of that, Bayley?
What do you
You
mean?
didn't say that.
She didn't say that was interesting. I've never heard anything quite like that before, but
that's
that was
always
kind of
a good
the
phrase to
it's always a
deploy.
good phrase. Yes, yes. But basically, Bailey's like, you know what? Eva has corporate behind her. She might have the look, whatever, whatever. She goes, but you know the difference between Eva and myself, Tom? I'm a wrestler, Tom. She isn't. And this is NXT, and we get to say things like, I'm a wrestler, and she isn't. And I will just point out how happy that made me.
And we also get to end on a high five.
Yeah, that's true. We ended on a high five. It was pretty cool. I liked it a lot.
It's short and to the point.
It was short to the point, and
short
she's
and
gonna,
sweet.
yeah, she's gonna prove to Eva why she's the NXT Women's Champion. Rock
And
on!
then-
Can't wait to see it.
In case you haven't had enough positivity with the backstage Bayley
Sami
segment,
Zayn is coming back. I'm so excited. We got a vignette for Sami Zayn, and it had the S and the Z, and it says he's returning. And I'm so excited. And I didn't know, honestly, I didn't know if he was going to be coming back to NXT. I figured that he would. I figured that he would come back to us first. I don't know how long he's going to be here, but I am very excited to see him for as long as we get to have him in the company. And I can't wait, and Sami Zayn is coming back, and yeah, I'm making really excited hand gestures
She
because I'm
bought
really
the
excited.
T-shirt. She's excited.
I do. I have the Sami Zayn and the Zaniacs t-shirt. Thank you very much. And I think it played part of his speech from when he came back as the champion and made the Sami Zayn and the Zaniacs speech, actually, which got me all, I don't know, hit me right in all of my feelings. But
All of the feels.
all of the feels. I hate saying that, though, because
I know, it sounds so stupid.
it
That's why I
sounds
said it.
real dumb. I don't understand. Um, but then we got Apollo Crews versus Jesse Sorensen, which is a match that I had forgotten happened, actually, because it didn't really have that much consequence. But what I like about it is that to set up Apollo Crews versus Baron Corbin, we're not having Apollo Crews fight Baron Corbin weeks on
Yes,
end.
that is a definite advantage that NXT has over the main roster. We're not going to set you up for a match by having that match so many times that you get fucking sick of it and never
Seriously.
want to see it again
Seriously.
by the time the pay-per-view rolls around.
And I mean, there wasn't much to this. It was just a squash. It was kind of cool to see Jesse Sorensen back. And they did talk about him on commentary, like, what's he doing here? What's he doing here? And Corey was like, well, what do you mean, what's he doing here? And Rich was like, why is he here in NXT? And they're like, everyone wants to be in NXT. What are you talking about? Like, he's a name that people know, which is true. I mean, people know his name. I'm really glad that he didn't actually have to retire after the whole neck breaking incident in TNA. And so it's really nice to see him at Full Sail, and it's really nice that they can bring people in who aren't under contract, and you know, we can have enhancement matches, and I actually still really stand by them because I think they work as long as they're not done over and over and over. And with Apollo Crews, they have been kind of done over and over and over. But at least we're building to something now, and he has a purpose. And so it was meant to
Yeah.
make him look strong for something, not just to come out and smile and beat someone. So I
And
appreciate that.
Solomon Crow's gone, so the designated jobber is
I'm
missing.
so sad. They still have the technical glitchy, like, things when they announce takeovers and when they announce matches. They sort of, like, static it in. And I'm still not unconvinced that Solomon Crow is not the big bad behind NXT. This is all a
Even
long
after
con.
his release,
It's a long
yes.
con. I think he
Welcome
and
to the delusional world of Sondra.
Yep. It's a scary place, but it's where I live in my head every day, and
And I'm
sometimes
living with it.
yeah, you are living with it. You are living with it literally. Because yeah, you live here. And Apollo Crews, after the match, does accept Baron Corbin's challenge for NXT TakeOver London. So that's another match that we have official, because that's coming up kind of soon now, which is so weird.
What's the date for London?
December 16.
I wonder if anything else happens on that day.
It's my birthday! Maybe I've just been talking on the podcast incessantly about how London's on my birthday. Maybe I haven't been talking to you about it as much.
Thank you, podcast audience, for taking the hit for me.
This is why Mr. Sondra appreciates that I do a show. But we did go backstage to Baron Corbin then after that, and Baron Corbin had to speak, which
And
is
he
never the
looked-
greatest idea.
Okay, I did write in my notes, and I don't even have it queued up to the right spot, that he looks like the grumpy cat of NXT.
Oh my gosh, it's true. It's so true.
He's got such a pouty face in this whole segment.
I just think he always looks tired and sad. And there is actually a Twitter account called or Why Baron is Sad or something. And it's basically like a grumpy cat featuring Baron Corbin faces. It's very weird.
Except Grumpy Cat, much cuter than Baron
Much
Corbin.
cuter than Baron Corbin.
And has a
yes.
much thicker coat of hair.
much thicker coat of hair, yes. But Baron Corbin, this might be one of the best Baron Corbin promos I've ever seen, actually, because it was short and he didn't have to say that much. He said Apollo Crews is going to be an answer to a
That
trivia
one guy
question.
who did that one thing,
Because he's going to be that one
time.
guy who did that one thing one time. Now, actually, I understand what he means.
I know. It
It's-
was okay.
It was
but
okay, which makes it probably the best Baron Corbin promo I've ever heard.
I still really don't think that much of Baron Corbin.
I don't think that much of him. I think the match is going to be good, and I think he's actually getting to be a good wrestler. And I don't know. I'm excited for the match. We'll see what happens, but I think his last few matches have been pretty good, actually. So
Yeah.
I got to give him credit where credit's due, right? Like you don't want to just continue hating everything because that's not fun. I don't like that so much.
Oh, yeah, I did also want to mention briefly, if I can, that the Apollo match was a point where the audience's weird and stupid chants started to really bug me.
Oh yeah. Well, even during the tag match, they started chanting for Bayley.
But, I mean, there were just some odd, like the "That's Too Easy" chant during the Apollo match. I don't know. I just think that's fucking
Is that
stupid.
a Uha Nation thing?
I don't know. It was fucking
I think
stupid to
so because
me.
they've been chanting it at him the whole time, so I'm guessing it's a Uha Nation thing.
Yeah,
Let
maybe
me
it's
know
a
in the
okay, maybe it's a
comments.
thing I don't know about, and I shouldn't blame Full Sail for that. But
Let me know in the comments if that's true because A, you'd be commenting, and B, I'm really curious.
there just seemed throughout the night to be points where people in the audience were chanting weirdly and or inappropriately, and I
Like
don't know.
all of the times during the night, basically. It's very frustrating. The crowd, I talked about it last week too. I like Full Sail and what they've done a lot of the time. There are some certain people in the Full Sail crowd who just need to stop, basically. It's very frustrating. And when the Vaudevillains are fighting the mechanics, you do not chant that you want Bayley. Like, of course you want Bayley because Bayley, duh. But you have the mechanics versus the Vaudevillains. Like, show some respect there, frankly. It's not like it was a bad match. It wasn't Cena versus Orton, okay? It was the mechanics and the Vaudevillains. You shouldn't be chanting for her during
Yeah,
Apollo Crews and Jesse Sorensen either. Like, it's not like that match was like the most amazing thing, but you should probably pay attention to the match that's happening and not try to just amuse yourselves when it's not even boring.
yeah.
Like when there's good stuff happening, maybe show some respect to the wrestlers. I don't know. I don't like to reprimand crowds too much because like you do pay, you can chant what you want, but I think it's disrespectful to other people in the crowd and I think it's disrespectful to the wrestlers because I feel like it takes away from other people being able to enjoy what they're seeing, and that is what I don't like about it.
And here is where I would make a distinction too. I would say that when you get a full-size arena where the crowd starts shitting on something or going into business for themselves, that's usually an indicator that the show in the ring is really bad. But Full Sail is a much smaller, controlled area, and so if there's maybe a lot of regulars who I think you were saying that, maybe people who always know to sit where the hard camera is
Yeah.
and want to amuse themselves, then it's a lot easier for a small group to maybe make bigger asses of themselves in front of the camera,
Yeah, I was
basically.
reading an interesting article written by someone who attends Full Sail and goes to the shows, and he wanted to write a thing. It was on TJR Wrestling actually about how it's not all of Full Sail, it's not all of the crowd, it's a select few people who try to hijack the show basically, and I just think it's unfortunate. Like when we're in small wrestling crowds, I don't ever want to be that person, and I don't know. I don't like it. I can't say like, oh, they should be kicked out or anything. I just don't like it. But it was after that we got our main event of the evening. Now this is going to be interesting. There's just so much here. There's just so much.
So much to digest. Let's really get into
There's
this.
so much. So
The arrival of Little Nate.
yeah, immediately Charles Robinson, Lil Nate himself comes out. And commentary is like, what's Charles Robinson doing here? Now keep in mind, they say the words Charles Robinson so many times during this match. Like,
It's almost as though they're trying to indicate that this will be important
this
somehow
might
to
be
the
important
finish.
somehow. And Charles Robinson is not officiating this match.
He's
They
just
act
here to, hang out,
just
make
here
sure
to
everything goes
just
okay.
here because corporate has sent him down to make sure there are no shenanigans, which I'm sure will go very, very
If
well.
Dusty Rhodes taught us anything, it's that having two referees at ringside always
It
goes
always
well
goes so well.
and smoothly.
Yeah, absolutely. And no, he's not officiating this match. He's literally standing there at ringside, and they
Yep.
pan the camera over to him
And
during the
sometimes he
match.
nods in an approving manner,
It's
and
funniest like facial expressions. It's just really odd. It's terrible dark hair ref that's officiating the match actually. And something to point out here is that it was terrible dark hair ref who didn't count to 3 when Eva forgot to kick out of a pin against Billy Kay. And then later, like, this isn't just canon because, oh, he did that thing and I'm making it up like I usually do, right? They brought this into, well, they brought this into the show because Eva had a cutaway promo where she thanked him for not giving in to the haters and for doing what he thought was best and like blew him a kiss or whatever in an inset promo on a later episode. So they brought into the show that she has a thing with this referee, kind of. So this is the guy who's officiating this match, and Charles Robinson is there to make sure there are no shenanigans. So we
Yep.
think that it's dark hair ref that's in Eva's pocket. But corporate has sent down Charles Robinson, so oh my gosh, what's going to happen? This is all before the
basically,
match starts.
We've got everything except a guest timekeeper.
Yeah, seriously. And so we have all that. Greg Hamilton announces the Charles Robinson thing. Eva comes out. She's awful, basically, at walking and looking and speaking and whatnot. But Nia Jax appears behind her on the ramps, and Nia Jax is accompanying Eva to the ring, which we kind of thought she would, given their friendship and how friendship is so important to Eva, right?
Yeah, and I also wanted to interject briefly that it's at the point where Eva comes out that Corey Graves starts again defaulting to generic heel commentator, which
Yeah.
I know I've said it before, but I like Corey Graves when he's being a heel, but like you say, he has his favorites, he has people he likes and doesn't like, and he's not just reflexively favoring the bad guy, where it feels like he has an actual personality and actual preferences and has opinions about the wrestlers that make him an effective color commentator. So I don't know. I just get a little disappointed whenever I feel like he's going into practically, video game commentary heel mode.
No, it's true.
Like, oh, isn't Eva great all of a sudden? Even though no one who isn't stupid believes that.
Yeah,
So,
no one believes that. I mean, granted, I will say Corey Graves has always been an Eva Marie apologist, like, the whole time.
Okay,
So
fair enough.
she is one of the characters
I
that
admit
he loves.
I don't watch consistently enough. So if you say that it is a consistent thing for him, then
Like,
maybe
Corey
that's
Graves
fine.
loves Carmella also, and he hates Enzo and Cass. So he's always like, why is she with them and whatever. So that is part of Corey Graves' continuing personality. Like, he's always loved Eva. He has always loved Dana, that kind of thing. But, I mean, they come out, they get introduced, they start the match. And the match itself, I mean,
Oh wait,
there's... What?
speaking of annoying chants, hey, we want Bayley, even after she's
Hey,
fucking
we
out
want some
there.
Bayley. Yeah, she's out there. You have her.
You
It's
have some fucking
frustrating.
Bayley. You have all the Bayley. She's right in front of you.
She's right in
Shut
front
the
of
fuck
you.
up.
Yeah, it's like I said. It started in the tag match with the Hype Bros, and because they filmed 4 weeks at once, it continued throughout the entire night, and it continued throughout the entire 4 weeks, which is very frustrating, basically. I mean, in terms of the actual match, the only things to really note are that Eva is still very bad, and Bayley is very good.
We had a lot of headlocks to start
There
out
were a lot of
with.
headlocks. We love headlock. And I mean, like, Eva can do a few competent wrestling moves. Like, I mean, one of the things that bugged you was Corey Graves going, look at that suplex. Eva's really
Well,
improving.
she did a few basic kind of offensive, I don't know, kick punching or, that kind of hair grabbing kick punching, basic slamming to the ground. But yes, that was the first, I don't know, wrestling move she did. And yeah, Corey made it sound like the second coming of, oh God, I don't even want to
Taz?
No, I'm not even going to compare her to any good wrestlers. So
Yeah, no, we shouldn't compare
I'm
her
not
to
even
any
going to
good
use
wrestlers.
Eva and a good wrestler in the same sentence.
Yeah, no.
But no, it was just
Basically, most of the match was like, move, Bayley does a move, Eva does something or kicks Bayley or hits her and Bayley falls down, and then Eva poses. And this is another thing about this match, right? Like, this is another thing to kind of dissect about it. When Eva says that, like, because her whole thing is that she's not been handed anything. She's been working for everything she has, which is, like, she's totally being handed everything. That's the thing. Like, she's completely disingenuous about it. She even wrestles like she's being handed everything. She doesn't wrestle like she wants to win. This doesn't look like a fight to me. It's, she does a move and then she stands there and poses and blows kisses
well,
and
she
does
doesn't
whatever.
just pose or blow
She
kisses.
did that weird air guitar thing.
Yep.
What even was that? She goes, yeah, and like swung her arm around like she was doing air guitar. And at that point, the crowd was right to chant, "What was that? What was that?" What?
Yes,
Because
I
seriously,
can't
what
fault
what
Full
was
Sail
that?
for that at all. That was
What
the right
even was
reaction.
that? And I mean, she's just at one point I think you said, "Is that Eva screeching like a cat in a blender?" Like she's just she's a conundrum basically. She's just a conundrum, but all of the posing and all of the stopping and all of the not looking like she's in a fight, it just reeks of I don't know what I'm doing, but it also reeks of, yeah, I am being handed everything and I am the corporate champion and I have this big bodyguard and also I have a ref as backup to like come in and help me, and it didn't feel like a fight. Like Alexa Bliss is not the wrestler that Bayley is, right? But last week it felt like a fight. It felt like Alexa wanted to win the title. And I mean, granted, she didn't have Blake and Murphy at ringside or whatever, but it felt like a fight. This didn't. This didn't at all. And Eva still doesn't move like a wrestler. She still didn't, whatever. But the thing that's working about it for me is that it totally fits with the story and it totally fits with the character, and I'm getting invested in it. So partway through the match, it looks like, or no, it wasn't even really part way. It was pretty
No, it was
early in the
pretty
match.
early.
Bayley
gets
hits a
her
belly to
big-
Bayley.
You said it wrong.
Belly to belly, belly to
See,
Bayley.
I thought I was going to be the first one to say it wrong.
No, I get confused. Although sometimes I think commentary still gets confused because Byron Saxton will still say belly to Bayley sometimes too. But she hits the Bayley to belly on Eva.
But what happens then?
But suddenly, terrible dark hair ref is pulled out of the ring
Yep.
by Nia Jax. And this does not cause a disqualification for some reason.
Well, for one, he just basically hits the ramp, which does make a nice noise, and
Mhm.
is, instantly unconscious / dead, like any referee.
Like
in
any
such a
referee
situation.
should be after falling down or whatever. Um, and so then, instead of it being a DQ, instead of it being called off, instead of anything like that happening, and Bayley's confused. Bayley's like, "What's going on? What's going on?" And Eva like tries to roll up Bayley at that point. At which point, Charles Robinson gets into the ring.
Wait, you mean he's not just here to
Shockingly,
nod sagely from the sideline?
right, shockingly, he's getting involved. And Bayley asks him, she's like, "What are you doing? He's the ref." Like, she's pointing to the ref who's being carried away by 3 other refs. Like, why are none of them in the ring?
Yes.
Why can't they step in?
And is this, I believe this is also the point where not only are 3 referees carrying just ref out, but Charles Robinson has his almost the entire upper half of his body outside the ring as he watches
Yeah,
them
that's right.
carry him away.
After he almost counts a 3 as Eva rolls up, well, not at almost a 3, Bayley kicks out at 1, but like he starts to count for Eva rolling up Bayley, and Bayley's like, "What even are you doing?" So yeah, like Charles Robinson has to make sure that 3 referees can carry
Yep.
unconscious referee to the back.
He
It's
really
very important.
has to be very diligent about that.
As Nia Jax starts attacking Bayley on the other
Yep.
side of the ring.
Headbutting her on the other side of the ring, I believe.
Yeah. So we definitely have like all the fixes are in or whatever. And Byron Saxton goes on and on about this.
Well, I wanted to point out that there's an Eva can't wrestle chant at one point, and I'm not using that as something else to speak negatively about the Full Sail crowd, just to reiterate my point, which is that I know they're trying to play into this deliberately, but trying to introduce a story where your champion is facing a woman who basically can't fucking wrestle and everyone knows it is
Yeah.
kind of terrible.
Yeah.
Because everyone knows it.
The Eva situation is so strange because it's basically they want to use this woman because of her look and her unique style of acting. And they've put so much time and money and investment into her, and now they're like, "Wow, she sucks. What do we do with this?" And this is what they're doing with it. And they're doing the best they can if they insist on continuing to use her. Honestly, I think they're doing exactly what they need to do if they want to make her part of NXT, and they're making her part of NXT. But it's such a strange situation. But what's working about it for me is like, okay, so at some point, Charles Robinson goes down.
Well, wait a minute. Before Charles Robinson goes down, we have an instance of Bayley basically firing up and really getting the advantage again on Eva, but Robinson gets in the way.
That's right. That's right. Oh, and this is another thing about shitty dark hair ref, right? Because like, Eva's in the corner, and Bailey's about to do her, like, where she does her waving thing, and then she's about to hit Eva in the corner with an elbow or something, like you do in wrestling. And Charles Robinson gets in the middle of them. And Corey Graves is like, Eva was in the ropes. Eva was in the ropes. It's totally legit. And they're like, seriously, Corey Graves, have you ever watched wrestling? Like, this is how wrestling works. So Charles Robinson, yeah, totally on Eva's
And
side.
that allows
her to
Eva,
hit the sliced red.
to hit her finisher.
Yeah. What makes me laugh about that is that what Charles Robinson just did there is exactly what pissed me off about dark-haired ref in the match between Sami Zayn and Adrian Neville. When Adrian Neville was saying that his knee was so hurt and Sami Zayn was trying to hit the haluva kick and dark-haired ref got in between them, and that allowed Adrian Neville to roll up Sami Zayn for the win. And
Well, then
that's when I
maybe
started
it is
hating
wheels
dark-haired
within
ref.
wheels of storytelling here.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that that's completely unintentional on their part, but it's one of the things I will always remember, and it's the reason that I started hating dark hair refs. So it made me very interested that it was Charles Robinson who was doing that. Like, the biggest swerve to me was that Charles Robinson was doing all these things and not dark hair ref, who we thought was in Eva's pocket.
But here's what happens next, because I think this is also kind of funny. Eva is loudly and slowly yelling at Robinson because he isn't able to get to 3 after the sliced red, and Bayley's able to kick out. But Bayley pushes Eva, and Robinson is behind her at that point.
So that's how he goes down.
So that's how he goes right out of the ring and out of our lives. It's
Slow
very sad.
fall, roll out the ring.
Yep.
Charles Robinson is now dead, basically.
Now he's dead.
Now he's dead. So we have, other shenanigans going on. There's no ref in the ring. What are we even gonna do? Like, you can't do a pin.
Oh, but here's what happens, though,
but
after
they
that.
somehow get to the top rope.
Well, first Eva goes to the top rope and just starts blowing kisses and just...
Because she doesn't care about winning. She doesn't care about winning at all. She wants to pose on the rope and blow kisses to everybody.
I know you find... I just find it more frustrating than you do, I think. The whole endless taunting, because...
Oh, it's so frustrating, but it's frustrating and it's working for me.
My theory is that she is a 3D video game character being controlled backstage by someone who clearly is not very good at video games and hasn't unlocked any special moves.
No, Eva is what would happen if I tried to play a wrestling video game, basically, because I can't play anything beyond NES, right? Like, Super Nintendo is a little tough because there are too many buttons. I can kind of do it, but it's difficult. So Eva is what would happen if I tried to play WWE 2K16 or whatever. Like, I would just start pushing buttons and it wouldn't go well.
You'd be doing your taunt every other 3
I'd be doing
moves.
my taunt because I'd be like, I don't know, what does B do? B equals taunt? Okay. Like, that's kind of how that would go. But yeah, Eva's on the top rope, and then Bayley has to win the match with a top rope Bayley to belly to Bayley. I'm getting confused.
Which
again.
gets teased, doesn't happen, then does happen.
Yeah, so there was tension. Like, this match actually was good in terms of tension and storytelling and getting me invested, because I didn't know what was going to happen.
They added all the bells and whistles to make an Eva match tolerable.
Yes, they did.
Almost succeeded.
Everything they could to take away from the fact that she can't wrestle, because you had Nia also. You had Nia around. I don't know. I think that if you're determined to have Eva Marie, this is exactly what you need to do with Eva Marie. And even more than that, I'm kind of loving it. Because, well, Bayley wins with her top rope Bayley to belly.
I think it's even, I hate to have to keep going back to these little moments, but I don't know, maybe it is better in retrospect as I talk about these bits, although it's better in a terrible way, because Bayley gets pulled out after the first attempt by Nia, but then Nia, who has just not even really done anything to Bayley other than just pulling her off the top rope, decides, instead of doing anything else to Bayley, to go up to the ropes and to give Eva a little bit of a pep talk.
Because Nia's obsessed with Eva, apparently now, or she needs to just worship at Eva's feet or something. They're both really bad at this.
And weirdly, because she's too focused on giving a pep talk to Eva, she also immediately gets pulled out of the ring in return by Bayley.
Bayley comes at her from behind, and then Nia falls off the apron, which, as we know, is a death knell to wrestlers. getting pulled off the apron.
And then
from
Bayley
behind.
actually does hit the Bayley to belly from the top rope and gets
But
the
there's
3
no ref
count.
in the ring.
Oh,
There's no
but
ref in the ring.
Suddenly there is.
But suddenly, dark hair ref is revived.
Hallelujah, it's a miracle.
he's
He has
made his way
risen.
out. He has risen indeed. Dark hair ref has made his way back out. We didn't see him coming up the ramp or anything, but he's just magically in the ring. So he has recovered backstage and has come out to fulfill his refereeing duties.
Maybe those
Counts
3
the
refs
3.
dragged him most of the way back out.
He counts the 3. Bayley is still our NXT Women's Champion. There was much rejoicing. I know that we were all over the place recapping that match, but the joy in my voice, like, Eva is a terrible wrestler and a terrible actress, but she is a fantastic character, and damn it, she is compelling. And I love this. And Nia Jax with her, it works for me because neither one of them can really wrestle, right? But together they're making kind of a formidable team, and I kind of love it. And also, what I love most about it, this is the thing I love absolutely most about it,
You
is that,
apologist, you, yes.
well, did you ever think that I would be a Nia Jax and Eva Marie apologist? No.
You're just lately you just seem to be an apologist for all the most awful people on
Well,
the show.
but they're so good at being what they need to be. What I love about this most is that it kind of takes me back again to the times when I was just completely invested in a story. When I was watching Summer Rae leaving her curling iron on so that she didn't have to fight Paige. Seriously.
Okay.
That was her excuse for running out of the ring during a match with Paige one time, okay? She was like, I realized I left my curling iron on and I didn't want to burn the arena down. So,
Oh god.
you know, things like that. Like, those are the kind of quirky, ridiculous stories that I love. I mean, it's different because it's on a lot bigger stage, but I'm invested in the story. I really, really am. Like, I'm not worried anymore about Eva's push and corporate and da-da-da-da. And if I am, it's because corporate has sent her down. Like, I am completely 100% in the story. And I don't know what's going to happen in London because I don't know if Eva's going to be dastardly or not. I'm wondering what William Regal is going to say when he comes back to be the GM because he's not going to like that all of this is going on. So that's an added element. Like, the GM is getting that involved in a women's storyline, which is interesting to me. There's so many places that this can go, and I really don't know what's going to happen. Because, I mean, after the match, we have Nia Jax. Like, we have the Nia Jax factor going on, too. Like, Nia attacks Bayley some more after the match. She couldn't do it properly during the match, but she attacks her
Yeah.
after the match. She hits
She was
2
too
leg
worried
drops.
about, Eva at the point.
About Eva
Weirdly.
blowing kisses, yeah.
It's like, come on, you have to get up and do some more taunts.
I know.
People won't know that
Post
you're
some more.
a soulless automaton if you don't do your taunts
I
every
know,
5
I know.
seconds.
But, I mean, Nia beating up Bayley after the match, do I love that? No, of course I don't. It's Bayley. But it does make Bayley look like the super underdog here, right? I mean, in this match, that's the other thing I love so much about it, is that it made Bayley look like an underdog against Eva friggin' Marie.
It did. I have to
And
admit
Bayley
that it
is
did.
best when she's an underdog coming from behind that we can get behind and be like, no, you can win despite all of these odds being stacked against you. Like, odds that are actually odds, not like John Cena.
She's overcoming them odds, all right.
She's overcoming them odds. There were actual odds, and she overcame all of them. And it's, I really, really liked this.
And where I have to come down, I guess, is that even though I have some fundamental reservations about, for instance, trying to turn someone being an awful wrestler and everyone knowing that they're an awful wrestler into an asset, blurring those lines I think is kind of dangerous, but at the end of the day, the episode overall entertained me more than I thought it was going to when I saw who was involved. I mean, starting out with Michael Cole, it seemed pretty dire, frankly, to begin
Yeah.
with. And knowing that the main event we were building to was Bayley versus Eva Marie
Yeah.
with Nia Jax.
Yeah.
I mean,
And it turned out to be fun. And I don't know where it's going to go. Bayley might lose the title to Eva Marie.
you think?
I don't know. I don't know. If Bayley loses the title to Eva Marie on my birthday, I will not be okay.
Yeah, no kidding. I do not want to have to deal with that on your birthday. Frankly. It's not
No,
going to be
you
good
don't
if
want to
that
have to deal
happens.
with that. For the love of Mr. Sondra, do
Yeah.
not lose the title on my birthday,
My
Bailey.
God. I'm more invested than ever in Bailey succeeding, frankly.
Oh my gosh, but I don't know. I mean, I've said what I need to say. There's not that much more to say about it other than that there are some really fun things happening and coming up and stuff I never thought I would like. But thank you, NXT, for being magic and making me believe in you again.
Well, except for the NXT audience, some of whom do need to find their way out of their own
Yeah.
assholes.
Yeah, that's real true. But I'm really hoping that when we get to a new taping, and I don't know when that starts, but I'm really hoping that when we get to a new taping, that the crowd will have some of it out of its system. I mean, I know that they're always going to be
Oh,
kind of up their own asses, but
I know we're way past this, and I want to go back, but I wanted to point out that I thought Nia let out a screech like an angry crow as she was dropping her big leg on
would you say she
Bailey.
sounded like a hyena?
No, I wouldn't. I certainly would not.
Sorry. Just a call back there. But I don't know. I'm glad that you ended up enjoying the episode. I
Yeah,
definitely enjoyed the episode a whole lot. There was really nothing on this that I hated. I mean,
and
even Michael Cole was effective at what he
yeah.
needed to do.
Well, let's face it, the fact that he was only there in that one segment and we didn't have to hear too much of his bullshit
And
helped.
it was to make a logical point because William Regal would never have sanctioned the match and he would never have allowed all of the shenanigans that went on. So, and they
Fair
they
enough.
called attention to it. I mean, honestly, like the show didn't make any sense in a lot of ways, but it also made all of the sense in a lot of ways. And I really just love it a lot. So, thank you everybody for listening. As always, I welcome feedback. Leave comments in the comments section below. You can get in touch with us on Facebook. Look up Inside the Ropes on Facebook at facebook.com/the Inside Network. Give us a like, start talking to us. We always appreciate that. Like this video if you like it. Share the video around because I don't know if everyone really knows that I'm on YouTube yet. I've been
Share your
trying to
favorite
spread the
Eva
word.
Marie interview clips.
Share your favorite Eva Marie interview clips in the comments. That would just make me so, so happy. I mean, granted, she doesn't have nearly the delight that Dana Boobs does, but this one on this
I
episode
don't know,
was pretty
Dana Brooks
special.
versus Eva Marie. Maybe they need to have a debate sometime.
Oh my freaking
Maybe Scott
goodness.
Steiner could moderate it and they could bring
Oh
him
my
in.
gosh. Well, I mean, debates to me aren't moderated, but that's a whole nother
Well, no,
situation.
but I mean, who could moderate a debate like that except Big Papa Pump?
But I am also on Twitter at Sondra Ruth RW, and Mr. Sondra and I got internet today, so I'll actually be able to watch shows live. And I live tweeted NXT again, and it was lovely to be back because it's been weeks
It's
since.
almost like being in the room with her. I mean, it's that stream of consciousness. Imagine living with it, folks.
Yeah,
I don't need a Twitter feed. That's all I'm saying.
yeah, that's true. You just get me speaking. Well, it is what it is, and you love me.
It's true.
So, yes, thank you again, everybody, and I will talk to you next week. Bye.
Bye.